Hey guys, in today's video, we're going to be talking about some underrated settings that I think can help you get better at Fortnite. If you find any of these settings helpful or just enjoy the video, please do remember to give it a like and subscribe if you would like to see more. I post Fortnite videos pretty regularly on this YouTube channel, and I also stream on Twitch. The link will be in the description below. To start off with, we're going to talk about auto open doors. This is a setting that has been in Fortnite for as long as I can remember. And as the name implies, you just automatically open doors with this setting. A lot of people just write this off because why would you want to automatically open doors? It doesn't seem that beneficial at all. But the main benefit of this setting is if you ever mess up your edits, you can progress forward without losing out on momentum. You don't have to tap X to open the door. There's no delay. The door just automatically opens and you go through it. So let's say you do a 90 and you Harry Potter yourself, you end up underneath your staircase. And then for some reason, you also mess up your corner edit to get out of that, and you accidentally make a door, you'll be able to go through that door quickly and without any loss of momentum, and that's what makes it really, really nice. Also, if you're tunneling and you're not that great at tunneling, you could just make doors instead of the corners. Or if you have very high ping, you can use these doors to tunnel instead of making the corner edit. When I played on the EU Winter Royale, I had about like 130 ping, and it was very hard to tunnel like consistently with the corner edit. But the door edit just worked for some reason very well for me. So if you have bad ping, if you're not good at editing for whatever reason, if you mess up, auto open doors can save you. And I don't really notice any sort of downside when using this setting. I don't think I've ever gotten killed because I accidentally opened a door. You can get very close to the door, but until you try to go through it, that's when it will open. You can stand right next to a door and it won't open unless you try to progress through. So I would definitely recommend trying this out if you're someone who messes up your edits occasionally. Even if you don't mess up your edits very often, like I feel like it helps way more than it hurts. Like you gain way more with the potential of being able to save yourself if you mess up an edit, or not miss out on much time if you do mess up an edit, than you do by potentially messing up an open door, which I personally have never experienced. The next setting I want to talk about is the 3D headset option. This was added at the start of chapter 2. And for whatever reason, there was a bug associated with it at the start, like it made the game run poorly or something like that. So a lot of people turned it off, but the setting is actually really good, and they have fixed whatever bug was associated with it initially. And it's going to be really, really, really odd at first. Like you're basically redesigning the entire way the game sounds with this setting. But once you get used to it, I think it sounds a lot better, and I can more consistently hear where opponents are, or I can more consistently tell where opponents are just based off audio. And audio is something that Fortnite has struggled with for a long time, especially vertical audio. And that's very important because Fortnite is a very vertical game. If you're in a build fight with somebody, being able to tell whether or not they went up or down is very beneficial. If you're in a stacked end game, knowing if there's people below you or above you just based on their footsteps is very beneficial. Spots like Slurpy Swamp is very vertical. There's vertical POIs. There's a lot of verticality in Fortnite. So being able to better understand where people are based on the sound of their footsteps is really beneficial. I would definitely recommend turning the setting on. It takes some getting used to. It will sound very weird at first, and it also sounds quiet at first, so I had to like turn my headset up once I turned this on. But once you get used to it, it's definitely a worthwhile setting, and I feel like it's just a step in the right direction as far as audio goes. The next thing I want to talk about is something that I personally wrote off for a long time, and that is tap to search / interact. I believe people were telling me in like season 3 or 4 to turn this on, and I just really didn't think it was that big of a deal to hold X when looting a chest. But back then, auto pickup weapons worked really well for 50-50ing chests, and I think it was around season 7 they did something to auto pickup weapons, and it just didn't work nearly as well as it used to for 50-50ing chests. But I think tap to search / interact also works really well for 50-50ing chests if you are a controller player. So how it works normally is you have to hold your interact button to open the chest. With tap to search / interact, you would just have to tap it once, and then it will like open for the duration unless you walk away from it. So when I get into a 50-50 chest situation, I just spam tap X now and then try to swipe over the weapons once they come out. Weapons always come out on the right side of the chest. So I just spam tap X near the right side of the chest and then try to move and get the weapon once it pops out. The reason why this is better is because there's less timing involved. You're just constantly spamming the button. Whereas if you don't have this on, you have to hold the button for the entire duration and then release it and then try to tap it again to get the weapon once it comes out. If you're just constantly sending that input, I feel like you're more likely to win that situation. And as we all know, like those 50-50 chest situations are like pretty random. So just something like this that can give you a small advantage is definitely worthwhile. It also makes it a little bit easier to drop things when you are reviving teammates or using the reboot van to revive teammates. You can tap the button and then go into your menu pretty easily. But the main reason I use tap to search / interact is for the 50-50 chest thing. Like I said before, I feel like I've been winning way more of those situations, and I like to hot drop, so I get in those situations a decent amount. The next setting is going to be auto run or sprint by default. This is another feature that's going to seem weird at first, kind of like auto open doors. Like, why would you want to be running all the time, especially if you're someone who comes from other shooters where running kind of puts you at a disadvantage? Running doesn't put you at a disadvantage in Fortnite, and there really isn't any time where you don't want to be running unless you're crouching, and you could still crouch walk and sneak around just fine. It doesn't hinder that at all. And the main reason I like this setting is because you're always moving as fast as you can. You don't lose any momentum. Like, let's say you're in a build fight and you're doing 90s. You don't have to re-sprint every time. If you get bumped by the other player's builds and it messes you up a bit, you don't have to re-sprint in order to sprint. And even if you just take a few steps and walk and then start sprinting, like, that little delay is going to add up, especially over the course of a fight. And this also frees up a keybind. Most controller players have sprint bound to left stick by default. And that's a really, really good keybind for something else. Like, you want to be able to use your analog sticks for inputs that benefit you where you don't have to take your thumbs off the analog stick. So something like jump, so that way you can jump and aim. Something like edit, that way you can edit and aim. If you have paddles, you can do even more. But if you have a normal controller, you only have 2 analog sticks, and those are the only inputs that allow you to do things without taking your thumbs off the analog stick if you don't play claw. So I think one auto sprint on its own is just a good feature because you're always moving as fast as you possibly can. But when you add in the fact that you free up a keybind, I feel like it's definitely a no-brainer, and there's no reason not to have this setting on. I feel like everyone should put this setting on. It's really, really beneficial. The next thing I want to talk about isn't underrated as much, but I feel like there's still a decent amount of people that don't have this on, and that is going to be double edit keybinds or confirm on release. I talk about double edit binds a lot, and there's even a video I recently made about like comparing double edit keybinds versus edit on release and why I prefer double edit keybinds. Basically, if you do not know what double edit keybinds are, it's just putting your confirm and your edit as 2 different buttons. By default, edit and confirm are the same thing. So let's say you edit with Y, like I do. You have to hit Y to edit, do your edit, and then hit Y again. So you're hitting the same button twice, which adds a little bit of a delay, especially if you're very quick with your edits. Like, if you swipe almost immediately and then you have to tap Y twice, like, that's kind of the limiting factor on how fast you can be. I personally use Y edit, LT confirm. If you're a controller player, I think LT confirm is really good. So try that out. If you don't want to use double edit keybinds, you don't play that much, you're more casual, whatever, you can't get used to it. Confirm on release is an okay setting. It's not bad. But I just don't think it's as good or as consistent as double edit keybinds are. And I have a whole video discussing that. I just feel like edit on release is a little bit delayed for whatever reason. It just feels off to me. I feel like I'm much faster having the control and hitting the buttons myself. But if you don't want to take the time to get used to double edit keybinds, confirm on release is like much better than a single edit keybind in my opinion. So like on one end, the lowest end, you have single edit bind. In the middle, you have confirm on release. And then like at the best, you have double edit keybinds. At the very least, I feel like you want to be taking advantage of confirm on release because it is very easy to get used to. And it is definitely better than a single edit bind. Finally, I want to talk about dead zones. This is something that is specific to controller, but dead zones are basically how much you have to move the analog stick before the game detects any sort of input. So the smaller the dead zones, in theory, the more precise you can be. With my opinion on dead zones is you want to put them as low as you can before you start getting analog stick drift. If the game is moving by itself, that's not good, and that's typically what will happen if you have really, really, really low dead zones. So just turn it up until that doesn't happen anymore, but still try to keep it low. That way you can make precise adjustments with your aim. And I feel like this is one feature that a lot of people overlook that can actually make a massive difference in your gameplay. I know a lot of people who overlooked this for a long time, and once I got them to change it, they just felt like immediately more comfortable with the game. It just feels less delayed in general when you have better dead zones. So I hope this video helped you. Like I said, auto open doors, really good for if you mess up any edits so you don't lose any momentum. Tap to search / interact is better for those 50-50 situations. I feel like 3D headset is a massive upgrade over the default sound options in Fortnite. Auto run will allow you to always be moving as fast as you can so that you can hopefully like keep high ground or get high ground back from the opponent. Double edit binds are definitely going to speed up your edit, but if you can't use them, make sure to use confirm on release at the very least. And then finally, if you're a controller player, try to adjust your dead zones so that they're as low as they can be without getting stick drift. If you enjoyed this video, please do remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more. Also, like I said, my Twitch will be linked down in the description below if you want to watch me live or ask any questions on the stream. And I'll see you guys another time. Thanks for watching. So he did. Right there might be good. He's like about to peek it. He's about to go out that side. What the heck? Why isn't it damaging it? That was odd. I'm just trying to make it to where it's like slightly see-through. Make sure everything's reloaded. What the fuck? Why'd this kid just break his own wall? I don't understand people, dude. How did he not do damage to me with that? Dude, what? I hate when I try to jump on a fucking pyramid and it doesn't work. Like, I don't know why sometimes when I try to like jump and place a or whatever I do, I don't know why, but I end up like a level lower than what I expect. And like it messes me up sometimes. Like I expect to jump, place the floor, and then be on the floor, but I end up underneath it. But let's get some GGs in the chat. That was a decent game.